And you mentioned efficiency.
Yes. So efficiency, it's a controversial one. I think you might ask a question on this later on, but the goal was to make every single person inside ixigo superhuman by giving them the power of AI in their hands. And to do that, like, we started building internal systems where we gave them some super productivity tools that they could use. We basically commoditized AI. The company gave people access to different kinds of AI, whether it was AI enabling our own data sources, etc., or giving access to latest models as and when they arrive. The company pays for it. Everybody has access to coding models, etc., etc. All of those things, the goal was to make everybody more efficient. And the same part also build products to make a lot of the things that could be automated. For example, in the customer experience pod, where you customer support, we build products that obviously the chatbot that we built in 2015 that he evolved a lot.
Sure.
So that chatbot started solving lots of customer queries. To the extent that, we replicate to 90% of chat queries being completely resolved by AI agents without any human intervention.
Okay.
And what know is that when a breakthrough would create visual base, which will break safety barriers. And so I think preparing the safety barriers and guardrails probably is an effort that needs to be done earlier rather than later.
Yeah.
But at the same time, to slow down growth, because all these models, they're working hard to make sure that we get to the point where we can actually create meaningful work that doesn't really look like AGI maybe now, but will keep on getting closer and closer to AGI, right? And so that progress is extremely hard, especially at a point where we have almost exhausted every amount of data that we had that was used in pre-training. I think people are now moving towards very complex post-training methods to kind of improve model accuracies, etc. And more human beings will be required to, in the post-training step specifically, with it. So I think there is no right or wrong answer. I'm just hoping that the governments have the same vision as most of these companies have. But at the same time, some of these companies might get ahead of themselves more in favor of competition or revenues, etc., and might ignore safety and guardrails in their process. So I think that is where the governments will have to come and play the role.
Yeah.
So you don't want to stop the progress, but at the same time, you need to have those guardrails.
So there's no easy answers here.
Very, very hard to do that because, it's not black and white.
Yeah,
It's not
for sure.
You don't know what's sort of. Obviously, what you don't want to do is that you want to do any kind of blanket things like, you can't use AI for XYZ. What's that?
The the government seems quite kind of bullish on AI.
Absolutely. I've seen, and we are much better off than maybe places like Europe where regulations are far more stricter.
Yeah.
I think.
And there's an effort to sort of build on sovereign AI as well.
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of progress as well. There are some, models that the government has, in collaboration with the government, there are labs that are building them, which are unique to us. And I think, language models inherently are language models. I don't think any language model in the world would have more data of Indic languages than we have in different places.
Yeah.
I think the government will have more access to such data. And so training model, even if it's like maybe not a large model, but a small model specific for certain use cases within the government or within public use cases, etc., that might be very, very useful. Might be very, very useful.
And Rajnish, you all are into Agentic AI also. Can you just quickly highlight some standard examples for us?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of confusion about what is Agentic AI, because I think normal workflow automation used to be done 10 years ago as well. What is the difference between that and Agentic? I think the biggest difference we see is that, Agentic AI is the kind of work that is not very straightforward. It's not just like, do A plus B equal to C. It's more non-deterministic. Go and crawl the web, find this information, massage this, do that, etc. And most of the time, you might get different kinds of results, right? So agentic workflows are more complex, more non-deterministic, and there's obviously this eval framework built into it in order to improve the accuracy, etc. Right? In our case, when you book a flight on ixigo, for example, as soon as you book your flight, there is an agentic system that would kick in. It would go and start figuring out when your web check-in opens. As soon as it opens, it will check you in. As soon as your boarding pass becomes available, it will pick it up. It's going to put it in your Apple Wallet or Google Wallet, depending on what device you use. And then it will trigger the whole trip code and flight tracker mode, etc., etc. So this is one example. In case you book a hotel, a Litrafix system triggers as well. It goes behind the scenes. It makes phone calls to the hotel to figure out whether there's any issue with your booking. Your booking has been successfully created in their register as well. Just to make sure that you don't end up landing there in the middle of the night and, get a booking denied or check-in denied. So these kind of useful agentic systems are going, and I think there would be more because there are systems which are also calling, our partners on behalf of our customers to, for example, get refunds, expedite refunds, etc. So, there's DGCA cancellation kind of stuff that happens. So we tell customers upfront that you're booking available for DGCA cancellation, and we then work with the MS to get the refund for the customer. So the customer doesn't have to do anything. The agentic systems which are actually going and following up and helping the customer get the refund.
Sir. And before we end, Rajnish, very quickly, one thing about AI personally that you're most excited about and one thing that worries you the most.
The most exciting thing, I think robotics can create a big differentiator like in the world. I think the actual physical intelligence I mean, like we talk about knowledge work and software, but once robotic comes into picture, the physical intelligence, like that realm is like huge. It's bigger, like much bigger than anything else. So I think I'm excited about that. And what was the second thing?
What is it that worries you?
Worries me the most? I think what worries me more is not the fact that there will be a Terminator kind of a scenario in the future. What worries me more is I think is the fact that people are just too either eager or too anxious about AI. And there are just too many predictions and, these things generally happens and what they do is that they create bubbles and they create bubble bursts. And those are kind of things that always just pushes things back, right? We saw that .com bubble burst, and I mean, looking back, you can see, all of that happened for a reason. Again, .com, I mean, internet was a great technology, but back in the days, like maybe infrastructure was not ready for that. Like we even before all the undersea cables were laid down, people were actually getting ahead and selling business because there was no business, there was not enough connectivities. And
as human, I think we tend to get ahead of ours.
We do. I mean, there's this tendency to always overestimate your future self, right?
But no Terminator yet.
I hope that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. But
all right. Awesome. Rajnish, it's been actually a pleasure. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.